Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with the Battle Report. So, this is a game between Empire and Bretonnia, but more importantly, this is a game between Once Bitten and Vince Venturella. So, if you're not familiar with him, he hosts a show called Warhammer Weekly every Wednesday night on YouTube, and he's doing this cool thing where he's spending about a week and a half driving around the eastern and midwestern United States, visiting various YouTube Warhammer people. So he came into town, and certainly I was invited him to stay with me, and then we went to the store and had a game. And we were going to play a couple games, but just this game ran kind of long, and then I had set up for him to play somebody else afterwards. So this is the one game we played, and it was a lot of fun. And there he is, and he has a similarly goofy posed picture of me in his battle report. So I don't think it's been posted yet, but keep an eye out on his channel for his view of this game. And when you get a chance in these close-up pictures, look at his knights. They are painted very, very nicely, much better than what I can do. So starting on the right, he's got a unit of peasants with all the obligatory stuff. Unit of knights errant with the errantry banner. He does have a paladin in there, giving them the extra d6 on movement. So they are somewhat far-reaching. There's a trebuchet behind him. Unit of Knights of the Realm, and then with this unit are all his characters. So he's got a Prophetess, Rockin' Heavens. He's got his General with Heroic Killing Blow with ASF Sword, 1-up rerollable armor save. His BSB has a 1-up rerollable armor save. And then a Paladin, which I just don't know what he had. Maybe nothing. And there's another Trebuchet back behind him. Way over here, he's got a unit of Grail Knights, and then a unit of 6 Peg Knights. So, starting on the right, in the building, I've got a unit of 10 handgunners. Then I've got handgunners have a detachment of 5 archers, and then with those archers, I've got my level 4 of metal. I've got a unit of halberdiers with 2 detachments. There's archers in front of them, and a unit of swordsmen to the right. There's a hurricanum right there, and with those great swords. And if I said halberdiers, forgive me. Anyway, big unit of great swords, like 35, I think. I've got my general, who's an archlector. He's got a 4-up armor save and then a 5-up ward. He's got the speculum and the sword of anti-heroes. I've got a battle standard bearer with the white cloak of Ulrich, and then I've got a witch hunter. Now, the witch hunter is a model, a guy I always want to use, but I can't justify the points because what can he really do? But one thing that occurred to me is I wanted to put some magic resistance on this unit because it's so many points that they need some kind of protection, and to give them MR probably 3 cost 45 points. For 5 more points, I can give them a witch hunter, and that gives an MR 2 and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I thought I'd give it a try. There's a cannon, a Hellblaster volley gun. I've got a master engineer, which I can't see at the moment. I think he's in with the halberdiers. And speaking of which, I've got a big unit of halberdiers. They've got 2 detachments. There are some more halberdiers in front of them, a detachment of 20. And then they've got there's a close-up of the characters. Here we go. And then they've got a detachment of crossbows to the side. So let me start off by saying I don't know what the hell I'm doing in deploying these guys. I mean, there was a tight enough space, and I started putting my troops down, then I forgot about the Hellblaster and yada yada. So, that's Vanguard, by the way. So I figured I'd just, it looked like I had my Halberdiers, the big unit, behind the small unit, which obviously I did. So my thinking was put up the small unit, push it forward, keep the big unit within 3 inches of it. It'll be steadfast, and then just take the big unit and position it so they can maybe go around that impassable terrain, or I can change my mind and just have them sitting there behind the detachment of halberdiers, which, if the Grail Knights charge, are eventually going to die, and then I can save the big unit for the big coup de grace at the end. So that's what I was trying. I mean, it wasn't a brilliant plan going into it. I'm saying that's what I was trying to do at the end when I realized that I totally misdeployed. So Empire, of course, goes first. I do this. And my wizard joins, he goes in the house. There's that over there. Now over here, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see, I think a cannon killed a couple Knights of the Realm. and nothing else much happened. We go to Bretonnia turn 1. He moves up like that. His Peg Knights, he goes all the way over here to the side. Yeah, that's a big unit of Peg Knights to deal with. I mean, I don't think anybody has a lot of wonderful tools to deal with them. And then the trebuchets open up, and oh my. So, let's see, this unit started, I think, with 35 great swords, and then I have currently 3 characters in there. So that's what, 38, and they're down to 23. So he lands a rock, kills 15 of them. And, you know, because they're stubborn, they're still okay, but certainly that hurts. And by the way, that's the problem with a list like this. When you have, one unit that's your biggest threat, they're also your biggest target, and he can ignore everything else and just focus on them. Empire turn 2, I reformed the great swords, going 5 wide because I didn't see the benefit of being in horde. And I'm trying to set things up between the swordsmen, the great swords, and the halberdiers on the left, that if he charges any of them, he gets held up, and then I countercharge. The problem is I really can't I can't dictate whom he charges because he's got so much movement he can crisscross and do whatever. One thing that was a last-minute realization was that my Hellblaster volley gun was easily charged, and I didn't want him hitting that, getting behind my lines. So I put my Witch Hunter and then my archers in front of that so that I can double flee if I needed to. Or I can let him hit one, overrun to the other, and then countercharge before he hits the Hellblaster. So it looks like that. The Witch Hunter shoots at his BSB. The BSB was his quarry. Or his actually, I forgot. I forgot the beginning of the game, so at this point I just D6'd it, and whomever it was, it doesn't matter, he missed. And yeah, don't even ask me what's going on here. I don't know. Yep. Oh, I'm going to go back up. So my crossbow's on the left. I mean, I'm going up just because it's, why not? Just get them out of the way. But what I didn't realize was I'm really just giving his Grail Knights an easy charge into them, and then he's in my backfield with his Grail Knights. I'm just dumb. It's been so long. Yeah, shooting or magic or something, I kill some more Knights of the Realm. And we go to Brett's turn 2. So he does a big crisscross. His Knights Errant charge my Halberdier detachment. His General's unit charges the Witch Hunter. I was actually pretty happy to see that. Because no matter what happens, if he overruns into the archers or if he just reforms, either way, my greatsword is going to charge. And then I can't get a combo flank charge with my swordsman, but the great swords will survive long enough for my swordsman to get into his flank, and I think I can just beat him to combat res. So I'm very happy with that. His Grail Knights charge my crossbowmen on the left. I'm not super thrilled with it, but it's not a huge deal. Yeah, so there's that. There's that. These guys aren't finished painted yet, but hey, put them in my list, give me an excuse to paint them. Now after this game, by the way, I took them out of my list, so I don't know if they'll ever get painted. And his Peg Knights come up to start threatening trouble. And that's the thing. His unit is so big that I can shoot out with the Hellblaster, I can magic him, but he's going to have plenty left to do, what Peg Knights are good at doing, war machine hunting and stuff like that. That's a lot of points tied up to do that, but it certainly keeps him alive. So he drops another rock on these guys' heads. It kills, I don't know, another 7 of them, I think. And after combat, so my Witch Hunter gets into a challenge. I need to finish painting that Witch Hunter. He gets into a challenge with his general. His general can't kill him. He wins through combat res and reforms, and my Witch Hunter gets away. So I felt that worked out nicely. And reforms like that. You can see on the left the Knights Errant beat up on the Halberdiers, but my guy's stuck. And I think at this point, I could be wrong, maybe it's next magic phase, but at some point I get a -1 armor save for the rest of the game off on the Knights Errant. So that's nice. And the Grail Knights completely obliterate the crossbows. And then I was really surprised. I thought that he would overrun and be in my backfield, but he decided instead just to stay where he was at. So we go to Empire turn 3. My great swords charge his general's unit. My swordsmen walk up so that on my next turn they can charge that unit in the flank. I'm very happy with how things are going there. I put some archers in the way so that his knights errant, if they win this, they shouldn't win and be able to break my halberdiers detachment, but if they do, that they're kind of blocking them a little bit. Witch hunter rallies, and I'm taking my reserve unit, what's the unit that's functioning as a reserve unit, the big halberdier unit, and turn them to face the Grail Knights. And during the magic phase, I buff them up a little bit. I kind of assumed that he would take the Grail Knights in their front and Peg Knights in their flank, and would win that. I'd be steadfast for a while, but he would win that eventually, and was trying to make sure that didn't happen. My opponent was thinking just the opposite. He didn't want to bog it down. He didn't want to lose a bunch of Grail Knights in the face of of some beefed up halberdiers. So he was not planning what I was worried about. There's that. And this, by the way, I don't know. This is where I want to do a Tactica on challenges and movement and stuff like that. And the only reason I'm not yet is because 9th edition's coming out. But this was a very intriguing part of the game, is where is my Archlector? He's in the front right, by the way, right next to my BSB, who's touching base with my opponent's BSB. So we're going to go in there. I want to issue a challenge. My opponent has a Lord, 2 Paladins, a champion. He's got a lot of options there. So when do you issue challenges? When do you not? Where do you want to be? I think it's really important stuff to think about, and there's no time in the battle report to go over all that. I'll do a Tactica on it one of these years. So I put in, I think I had Enchanted Blades up on the Hellblaster Volley Gun, and I think I had a unit in the way, so he's getting a +2 cover save, but it didn't matter. With all that, I do a bunch of wounds. I think I've done, what? Obviously I've killed 2. I put 1 wound on another one. But again, the Peg Knights are plenty strong still. After combat, yeah, the Halberdier detachment was no longer within 3 inches of the parent unit, and that's something I've got to get used to. Is 3 inches is tough, especially if they're in front of me like that, because as wounds happen, he gets farther and farther away from me. So they're gone. So everything is as you can see, and his plan was just to charge a Hellblaster anyway, so my archers weren't doing a whole lot of good. You can see what's going on with the what I consider the main combat that matters. I think he accepted with his paladin. His paladin's now dead, and he steps up with his champion. So what I was thinking at the time after this happened is I should have reformed to put my Archlector touching his general and his BSB. Because I still got the Sword of Anti-Heroes, and I need to start whacking away at characters before he starts losing all his characters. I forgot to reform, so I'm touching his champion instead. And just out of habit, on the next round of combat, I issue a challenge, which was stupid, because I didn't need to issue a challenge. I should just fight normally, kill the champion. In a challenge, we swap stats, and I'm giving up strength and toughness. So we go to turn 3. Peg Knights charge a cannon. His Knights Errant charge the Hellblaster. His Grail Knights just reform and walk away from the Halberdiers, which, I don't know, is probably smart. I mean, I had a 5-up ward save, re-rolling to wound. I'd have hatred re-rolling to hit. I was going to do a fair amount of wounds. So the Halberdier unit is still, it's still kind of functioning in reserve. But the problem is I actually kind of need it to do stuff. They're just reforming left and right. Yeah, they're just doing that. Peg Knights are the best war machine hunters in the game. There's that. And then he drops a rock on my swordsman. This was soul-crushing. He drops a rock on my swordsman. That was, I want to say it was 20 strong, I think. It might have, whatever, even if it was a little bit less, whatever. He kills him down to 2 guys. Those trebuchets are just, they were pulling their weight this game. So now, my thinking was, I get in here with the great swords, I'm killing characters, I'm stubborn, I'm going to stick around for a while, and then swordsmen charge in their flank, and I'm just going to win through combat res. Yeah, not now. Not freaking now. After combat, it all looks like that. The Knights Errant kill the Hellblaster, overrun into the Witch Hunter. The Peg Knights just overrun, or just reform, and the great swords are slowly but surely being whittled away. Empire turn 4, but I take those 2 remaining swordsmen, I charge those flank as general's unit because that's just how we roll. I take an archer attachment and the Hurricanum and charge his Knights Errant. I was very happy with that because if you look at what what he can do, these guys are brutal on the charge. And what I was thinking was the only people that were going to get their lances, their +2 strength bonus was on the Witch Hunter, and he was going to issue a challenge. And I forgot that that's not true. In the round of combat in which they charge, they get the strength bonus all the way around. So as soon as I realized that, I was like, this may not have been the smartest thing ever. But you never know. I mean, I just don't want these guys running rampant. I think I can win. He'll be steadfast, rerollable, so he's probably going to stick. But after the charge, these guys aren't much to fear. Yeah, so anyway, that's what I did. There's that. Oh, and I charged the master. The only reason I charged the master engineer in there was because I had to get him out of the way of the Hurricanum. And then open up with probably magic. I kill another Peg Knight. He's down to 2. 2 is really all you need. During the magic, I also got an extra -1 armor save. So the Knights Errant actually only have a 4-up armor save. That's why I was going in there with, first of all, the Hurricanum charged in, strength 5 impact hits should do some damage. And then with the Hurricanum and let's say only 4 remaining archers, that's still 8 attacks at +1 to hit. It's hard to get wounds through, kinda, but he only has a 4-up, 6-up, and he doesn't have that many wounds in the unit. So, but everybody's stuck there, and the great swords are slowly getting whittled down, but they're still there. My Archlector looks like he's dead now. So I get a challenge last time with his champion, and his champion goes first because I gave him my initiative, and his champion has 2 attacks and does 2 wounds on my Archlector. And then my Archlector kills him, but ouch. So this time I get in a challenge with his general, and his general, I can't kill him, and he kills my guy. So that hurt. There's a lot of things hurting. Bretonnia turn 4, his Grail Knights kind of make their way around to the center of the table. The Peg Knights go from War Machine hunting to redirecting, and now there's only 2 of them left. He's lost 4 of those guys. But it's actually pretty smart, because if I charge in with my Halberdiers, if he flees and he's almost certainly going to get away, because my Halberdiers would then try to redirect, he's saving a ton of points. If I charge in there, I could kill them both, but if I don't and I break him, because he has Swift Stride, he's probably going to get away, and he's saving a ton of points. Not a bad build and use for the Peg Knights. Yeah, there's that. So that unit in reserve just, it's like, they're not doing anything. There's time yet in the game. So during the magic phase, he gets a Comet off. It's to the left near that impassable. I can tell you now, on my next turn, it goes off. It hits only the Halberdiers and the Peg Knights. It does 0 wounds to the Peg Knights and does 2 wounds to the Halberdiers, so it really didn't affect much. Over here, his Trebuchet hits the building and kills about 4 out of the 10 handgunners. And after combat, this is interesting. So the Master Engineers, he's in a challenge, I think with the champion. And, my archers are getting slowly whittled down, but his knights are getting slowly whittled down. So it's kind of interesting. I don't think the archers or the engineer are long for this world. I do think it's going to be tough for him to kill the Hurricanum. Meanwhile, the great swords are still alive, as is my BSB. We go to Empire turn 5. I charge the Peg Knights on the left. Otherwise, there's really not a whole lot of movement that matters. There's that. I am lining up this for I can do a boosted Searing Doom, and I can do Final Transmutation. I roll a big magic phase. So I think my thinking was to throw 5 or 6 dice at both of those spells. I start off with Final Transmutation on the Grail Knights, and I killed 2, which was somewhat anticlimactic. I miscast in the process, and I don't do any damage to myself, but I do lose dice. The archers open up on the Grail Knights, and they kill 1. Take that. They save all the points to the Grail Knights, of course. And we go to combat, and the great swords still have 2 guys left. My BSB is still alive. Yeah, look at the halberdiers. They did a single wound to his peg knights and he stuck. That really, really hurt. Actually, it doesn't really matter as long as I can win on my opponent's turn and then I can reform and charge on my next turn. But if those peg knights hold me up, that's going to be just brutal. The archers and the master engineer finally die, so he can finally reform his knights errant unit. He's got a paladin and 2 guys left in that unit. That's all he has. Hurricane has 4 attacks plus 1 to hit. You know, their strength 3, it's nothing to fear usually, but he just needs a few getting through, and again, 4 up, 6 up. Doesn't save you much. Go to Bretonnia turn 5. His Grail Knights charge the rear of those 2 swordsmen. They're still alive, by the way. You haven't seen them in the pictures because they're kind of hiding there. But they've been giving me a flank every turn, and I've been winning combat as much as I've been losing combat, but everybody sticks every time. Yeah, so there's that. His trebuchet, of course, hits the building, because what else would it do? Can't miss. It kills all my handgunners except 2, and they fail their panic and run towards the edge of the board. They do not rally later. Let's see, the peg knights were beaten in combat. There's 1 guy left. I restrained. He got away, saving all those points. And I'm facing the flank of his unit, and I can charge on my turn, and I get to hit his general and his prophetess. That should be easy points, and I should be able to beat that unit. If I can breed him through combat res, and I really should be able to, I can overrun and hit the flank of his Grail Knight unit, and I can just sweep it right there. It would be awesome. Hurricane broke from combat, but he got away, which is very, very much appreciated. We go to Empire turn 6. The Halberdiers, they've been messing around all game long, just being in reserve, and now's their moment. They waited till everybody else was dead, but they're going to steal the glory. This unit started with 4 characters, 1's dead already, but there's still 3 characters in there. Big unit of Knights of the Realm. If I overrun and can do the same thing my opponent's turn against the Grail Knights, they will just save the game. Look at the bottom. The 4-man archer detachment charges the flank of the Knights Errant, because why not? I got a charge. I have a flank. My opponent has a banner. I'm starting up 1, and I just have to hope that his paladin whiffs his attacks, and I could get lucky. There you go. Odds are low, but it was fun. And this I'm very excited about. And the nice thing now, I mean, the great swords, there's so many points sitting there, and they may yet survive. Oh, wait. I think what this picture's showing is my BSB is gone. I think his general killed my BSB, which is kind of a bummer. His BSB is in combat over here. I think we're in a challenge with my champion and his BSB. I didn't think I would do any wounds to him anyway, because he's got a 1-up rerollable armor save, and it protects my my warrior priest. I don't like my warrior priest getting killed at higher than 3 initiative, because then I lose hatred. So I have 3, 6, 7 attacks going against the prophetess, hitting on 3s or probably 4s, re-rolling to hit, strength 4, and they can't kill her. They can't kill her. I do 2 wounds to her. He kills only 1 great sword. He's on a leadership 5 rerollable, and on the reroll, he sticks it. And meanwhile, down below, his paladin doesn't whiff his attacks. He does 2 wounds to archers, and he has a wound on him. I don't know if my archers did it or if it happened earlier, but everybody sticks. I want you to appreciate the work that the Empire has done. Look at all those knights that are dead, and I have no points. The Knights of the Realm are still there because there's 1 guy left. Knights Errant are still there because there's 2 guys left. The Grail Knights are still there. And then after combat, yeah, the same damn thing happens. I can't kill his prophetess. Everybody sticks. And he does get my archers. It ends up being just a huge win for the Bretonnians, because he has all of his points. I think he blew one of his trebuchets up, and I have the paladin, and other than that, everything he has is still alive. Oh my gosh. I thought I had it. I thought the Halberdiers going in finally had this thing. They were just going to just mop the middle of the table up, and they decided not to. So, yeah, just a real fun game. This list I used, I actually really like it for a fun game. I mean, the weakness of it is it doesn't really have tools to kill. I mean, it can kill stuff outside of combat with Lore of Metal and with some war machines. In combat, it's just Strength 3 and Strength 4, except for the great swords. But it's pretty easy for people to avoid the one unit or to pick on the one unit. So I mean, there's a weakness there, but I don't think I can use it for a tournament because I think it's just too slow. This game took forever, and a lot of it was just because we had these drawn out combats. I get in combat, I can stick. I don't kill much. We just stick around forever. We rolled a lot of dice, but I don't think in a tournament I would finish all my turns. Anyway, that's it for the game. Hope you enjoyed it. Everyone's been here. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.